Welcome, ladies and gents. I wanted to talk today about Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I want to review it, of course. Why do I want to review it? Because it was bloody fantastic. I had such a good time with this series. It's like a 10-episode mini-series over on Netflix. Now, ordinarily, Netflix is the badge of distaste and disgust when it comes to most things. Generally speaking, their anime has been quite lacking. I remember the Altered Carbon, very sort of 3D-esque, CGI-esque, odd. This was made by Studio Trigger, and I tell you what, good God is the animation amazing. This was so good. I literally watched it all in one evening because it was just so good. The story was gripping, compelling. It's bloody, it's gory. It's everything you want. Now, I'm aware that Cyberpunk, the game, is having some form of like an expansion pack that will deal with this as well. Which I think great, like good way to try to keep this franchise, universe, game, whatever, alive. Cyberpunk was one of those games which had so much promise before it came out. I have played it. I did it for Patreons and members of the channel. I play games for them. And I had a good time with it, but it was definitely lacking when it first released. And, you know, there were bugs, and it's not been the best of releases for CD Projekt Red. This anime is just astounding. It's a really, really good anime. Like, I like anime. I don't review it too much here on the channel. There are certain things that I just keep to myself and I just enjoy. But, you know, believe it or not, people can do that. But I do like anime, and I much prefer the older sort of anime. Like Studio Ghibli's not really old, but the more hand-drawn style. This, I would imagine, it's very clearly got some graphic enhancement behind it, but it still looks much more hand-drawn on its presentation than any other anime that I have seen for some time of this caliber. So what's the story? Well, obviously, we're in Night City. There's a lot of familiar faces, or at least familiar entities. So Arasaka, Militech, you know, all of the police, things like that. Obviously, Cyberpunk's Edgerunners, and then in amongst those there are, you know, the individuals that we come to know from playing the game as well. Not necessarily individuals, but, you know, what they do skill set wise. We follow a chap, David Martinez, who is essentially from a underprivileged part of Night City, which is almost comical because the whole place is underprivileged, but whatever. An underprivileged place of Night City, working his way up the sort of educational ladder at Arasaka Academy. His mother works as an ambulance. I think it's pretty certain it was an ambulance. Anyway, something like that, services. And is trying to obviously pay her son's way to the top. Not, you know, seedy, genuinely just trying to pay for his tuition and things like that. Things go astray when she dies. David picks up military technology, like a spinal graft that allows him to move super fast. He is able to handle this well above anyone else is capable of. And then this lays the seeds of what's going to happen later in the series. But it is predominantly this sort of rise and fall of this small Edgerunner cyberpunk group, led by Maine, big bruiser, massive hand implants, and essentially going into sort of psychosis and things like that. And it was just so good. The voice acting was fantastic. I know loads of people are going to be annoyed with me. Look, no shit, I don't care. I watched the English dubbed. The English dub was fantastic. Very familiar voices that I've heard in other things. Lucy was a very familiar voice. I like English dub for some animes. Some animes, no. But some animes, definitely. And this, for those sort of worried that it would be poorly voice acted, absolutely impeccably voice acted. Impeccable storyline. Each like each episode, you're watching this sort of mini story play out in and unto itself, which adds up nicely to a grander story. It's just really, really good. It is fucking gory. Like, you're not going to want to let your kids watch this. Oh my god. Now, I would show stuff on the screen, but Netflix copyright claims out the wazoo for stuff like this, and I'm not interested in dealing with them. So sorry, you will just have to put up with me, which is what it is. But it was so gory, so bloody, brutal. The characters get picked off left, right, and centre in the most disgusting ways possible. It was just such... And the music was great. It's not on par with what's in the game. They got DJ Hyper, or just Hyper, a DJ producer, to produce significant amounts of music for Cyberpunk. Or at least, you know, a good amount. He did the trailer music, spoiler. Good dude, great music. The music in this isn't on par with that, but it's still very, very good. And there's like a recurring theme sort of song, which is not a theme song, but it's a recurring theme song, which comes through thematically. Yeah, I honestly, I can't really fault it. I genuinely can't really fault it. It's brutal, bloody, it's gory. There's no pandering, there's no weird messages. There's no like wham and strong. There's none of that. It's just a good story. Just, yeah. Return to form, I guess, for storytelling, of all things to sort of throw out there. Highly recommend. If you haven't watched it and you've been put off while watching it, hopefully this turns you around. You must watch it. You can get through it in an evening. I definitely wouldn't recommend drinking beer watching this. Some movies I'm like, oh, it's a beer movie. You know, get some beers, enjoy it, whatever. This is, you sit down, like, you're going to be engrossed in this. It makes you want to play the game. And maybe that's in part why they made it, but I can't imagine so. It'd be a weird business choice. It's just a very good story. And I'm keen to see if, you know, if this is picked up in the game to a certain degree, to any extent, just to see whether, because there's some Edgerunner DLC that's going to be available, and I'll be keen to see how that interacts with this, whether it's the same story that you play or whatever. But you won't be disappointed. It's a very, very good series. Even if you haven't played Cyberpunk, you can watch this and enjoy this. So if you've seen it, let me know what you think. Cheers, guys. Take care.